Papa John's has a new stuffed crust. Oh, we did it. We did it. All our tweets, DMs, and carrier pigeons worked. This ain't just stuffed crust. This is Papa John's.
Boom, 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 boom. Ba 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 bum ba ba bum ba bum ba bum ba bum. Bum bum ba bum bum ba bum ba bum ba bum ba bum ba bum bum ba bum bum ba bum ba bum ba bum. Bum bum ba bum bum ba bum ba bum ba bum. Ba 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 bum 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 ba ba bum bum. My fellow Americans and our foreign immigrants or foreign visitors to our great nation, as we have it, of the Democratic Republic or democracy, however said, of the USA, United States of America. We are at a precipice, as we have it, for that of human history, whereas certain hostile, uncivilized elements of not only our own society, as we have it, of a democratic republic of the USA, United States of America, but then nevertheless for other parts of the global community, are attempting to dismantle that being of a proper form of government, being of which ensures the rights and privileges of all citizens and all foreigners, regardless of race and or walk of life and or etc. Especially when it comes to that being of the Democratic Republic of the United States of America, for that of our own democracy upon the North American continent as we know it. And it is up to each and every one of us, being of whom consider ourselves to be law-abiding American patriots of whatsoever races and of whatever walks of life, factions of society, or lifestyle preferences, to safeguard that being of our most cherished democratic form of government, and likewise our most cherished American way of life. For if we were to permit anybody of some of such other Americans for that matter, as well as any foreign immigrants, to attempt to successfully dismantle that of the American democratic process and or our American way of life, then we as American citizens and or foreigners may as well have it to become or be of a case or situation, whereas we all may as well just go ahead and commit mass suicide. Being because that is exactly what one of the worst case scenarios would become or be if we don't defend ourselves against any hostile terrorists, be they foreign or domestic, who wishes to attempt to dismantle that of the most precious government as we have it, of a democratic republic upon the continent of North America, being of our own U.S.A., United States of America, being of which is supposed to be a beacon light onto the rest of the world, or to the rest of the global communities of, or to the rest of the global community of countries and our nations. Excuse me. Being that because just as events had happened upon the continent of Europe, across the great waters of the Atlantic, during a time frame period of human history, being of which we all commonly call and know as World War II, when the racist redneck Nazi blitzkrieg had dominated that being of the continent of Europe after a while, whereas before then, they did not have so much of a foot in government. Before then, they had schemed and scammed to get some of such of a much more authoritative power status. That is what cowards do, being that because they know that they can't possibly attempt to overthrow a government, an established government, by brute force. So they go about with all those or these conspiracies of planned thought and action, though premature, to attempt to overthrow a government, being that because they themselves have not committed that being of their persons to that of the democratic principle and our cause, being that because, well, for one thing, I say, for example, they are lazy. Yes, when it comes to giving deep thought to not only to what is in their fellow man's better interest, but in that of their own better interest. You know, any brain dead, brainless, bonehead, butthead, modern day, uncivilized, prehistoric, pre-civil rights movement era Neanderthal, that's to be translated to be defined as meaning of racist redneck hooligans or hoodlums who are stuck on stupid, stuck on their senseless and our negative traditions of attempting to conquer a world, a country or nation, wherever, by mere brute force. And we all know from history what the results of developments as that would be. Those 6 million white Jewish had perished upon the continent of Europe during World War II, but then nevertheless, the Axis powers were defeated by American military might, governed by democratic principles, as well as by our allies, and with some of such help from those being of whom had at one time or another were considered as enemies, but then they had to give serious thought to joining hands in a fight against the worst enemies, being of the German Nazis. And so the Russians had become allies with us Americans as well as anybody else. And so therefore, we are now at a similar so great precipice that could decide what this great board game of life is to become or be for any country or nation, for any part of the global community, depending on how we fare here at home against all terrorists, foreign and domestic, being that because if the United States of America goes down the tubes, then there is no hope for anyone. You hear? Black or white, Hispanic or Asian, or green moon martian from outer space who could have taken on human form. Well, you can scratch that last, but I was just saying, as a matter of figure speech, for the sake of argument, and disregarding the interruptions that you may have heard in the background. No, not meaning that of an electronic device or communication, but rather of the likes of any proverbial neighbors from hell or public nuisances or problem neighbors, whereas he himself could possibly be the likes of one of the undesirables for whatever race he may be. But anyway, though, getting back to that being the issue at hand, or for what that being of my person was discussing. As you all know, sometime last week and midweek at that, a bunch of rowdies or yahoos, racist redneck Joe Palookas, Joe Schmoes or Joe Schmucks had threatened that of the operations of the democratic process for our own American government. They had even had the audacity to enter that being of facilities in an unauthorized, unlawful, criminally illegal kind of way. And now more than quite a few of them have been put on the FBI's most wanted list, where they should be. And the APB has gone out for more than quite a few of them. And so it is our duty as law-abiding American citizens and or foreign immigrants, if required to do so, if necessary, even if not requested, to help, as in come to the assistance of any American police officials or police officers, as well as come to the assistance of any American military personnel, if the need arises. Being that because the racist redneck hooligans or hoodlums that has gone about starting all that nonsense last week, like I said before, and I'll state it for the record, so I say and state for that being the record once again. They do not have their fellow citizens, fellow American citizens, better interest in mind. They don't even have their own better interest in mind. Being because they're brain dead, they're cuckoo for Cocoa Pops, off their rockers. They don't have it all upstairs, you know. That's why we are, I say, or how you say, are needing that the construction of more jails and crazy houses just for the likes of them. Therefore, we are to help any police or military soldiers to combat this madness of racist, redneck, anarchists, communists, or socialists attempting to disrupt or interrupt the operations of the democratic political governing process for our elected officials. Now, the likes of those of these racist redneck idiots have taken it upon themselves to threaten, to disrupt or interrupt whatever government places of businesses proceedings in all the 50 states of the United States of America. And we cannot have that. We must have a zero tolerance level for that being of any, every, and all physical actions being of which could possibly be orchestrated and or initiated by these clowns. That's just what they are. They're clowns. They're a clown posse of fools. And none of us law-abiding American citizens and or foreign immigrants should tolerate their nonsense. And if called upon to defend those places of government facilities, as well as if we are called upon to help the police and the military, our American police and American military, then we should not give it a second thought. We should be right on cue, ready to help them if and when it is needed. Because just as these racist redneck clowns or racist redneck clown posses don't care about our representative elected political officials, neither nor do they care about the rest of us. They're not willing to go through all the proper policies and procedures or protocol to make changes where it could possibly be necessary, but all in the better interest of each and every one of us. Therefore, any domestic terrorist, being of whom would attempt to disrupt or interrupt the proper functions of American government should be dealt with harshly. No ifs, ands, or buts, no hesitations. We are to protect any, every, and all places that conducts government businesses, as well as any representative politicians that represent us, that are those who represent us, and the police and the military, our own American police and American military, against the likes of those or these closet anarchists, of racist redneck, closet Klan, and closet neo-Nazis. Unless you want the United States of America to become nothing more than a big black slave plantation or a big white Jewish concentration camp or POW camp. Because that is what will happen if you don't prepare for battle to protect our elected politicians, our elected representative politicians, elected representatives of politicians, and our police and military, as we have it, within the Democratic Republic of the U.S.A., the United States of America. Unless you want the overthrow of our own American government, and then unless you want to put yourselves at risk of being thrown into some of such makeshift concentration camps or POW camps and then be hauled off to makeshift crematoriums and makeshift gas chambers, unless you want to see more madness of unarmed, non-white males being shot in the back at random, or non-white females being kidnapped and raped likewise that much more. Otherwise, defend our American places of businesses, being of which conducts government proceedings, defend and or protect our American representative politicians, and defend and protect or help or assist any, every, and or all American police officials or police officers and American military personnel. Because the buck stops here. The average racist redneck is a crazy person that does not have any good sense. Be one closet-klan or closet neo-Nazi. They are, in other words, and no offense is meant to be directed at the much more familiar mentally challenged when I say this other here. Then because at least they would have a legit excuse for being the way they are. But these racist rednecks of closet-klansmen and closet neo-Nazis are that much more retarded than the much more familiar mentally challenged. I would doubt if the average one can or could possibly count to 100. Practically or possibly, I would doubt it. Well, so to speak, and then some, rather. I'm sorry, but that's the way I feel. I mean, I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt with all things considered. I practically, if not possibly, literally or actually believe that the average racist redneck of a closet Klan and a closet neo-Nazi upon the American continent within our own democratic republic of the U.S.A. can't even count to 100. That's just how ignorant, stupid, or dumb they are. No, I'm just making an exaggeration, but I think you get the general idea of what I'm trying to say. I practically, if not possibly, believe that. That's just how ignorant and insane or stupid and sick, let alone, or not to mention how retarded they are. So if they attempt to repeat that fiasco, that madness, that ludicrous or ridiculous nonsense that they had orchestrated or initiated and or perpetrated last Wednesday of last week, then it is up to us as American citizens and or foreigners or foreign immigrants or foreign visitors to our democratic republic or democracy, regardless of whatever races and walks of life, factions of society, or lifestyle preferences, to defend our homeland against or to defend our future homeland if any of us are foreign immigrants who wish to become naturalized American citizens, as well as it is up to us American citizens to defend this great democratic republic or democracy of ours from the likes of those domestic terrorists, being of whom are to be considered as just as violent as any foreign terrorists, of the likes of Islamic Muslim terrorists, of card-carrying members to Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah, Hamas, and or etc. Just as we were shocked at the downing of the Twin Towers in the city of the Big Apple for 9/11, then we, as law-abiding American citizens and or patriots, should be just as much shocked at how a bunch of uncivilized, ignorant, and or insane hooligans or hoodlums of racist redneck pukes of closet Klan and closet neo-Nazis had raided our nation's capital That hasn't happened since the calendar year of 1812, when the White House itself was burned down by the French, I think it was, rather than the English, or whatever the case. So we must not permit that kind of nonsense to happen again, to become a second repeated episode for what had happened last Wednesday of last week. So I'm counting on you all, my fellow law-abiding American citizens and or foreign immigrants who wish to become naturalized American citizens within our own democratic republic or democracy, to stand your ground. If you see something, report it. If you see something foul or suspicious, report it to your local law enforcement personnel, and if need be, to your local military personnel within the continental United States of America for our own democratic republic or democracy. We're not having it. And furthermore, I would wish that our United States Congress of the House of Representatives and the Senate would make capital punishment legalized in all 50 states behind this racist redneck nonsense of hooligans attempting to overthrow our American government. For all that insurrection nonsense that had taken place or happened last Wednesday or last week. Let not only that is put the likes not only in jail to do a life sentence prison term, but also give them capital punishment. And I believe that would stop any future nonsense or madness of that nature. Being because they have not only threatened our own American government, but they have threatened our American way of life. And unless you want our own democratic republic to become like a dictatorship under the control of crazies or crackpots or cranks like that, then you may as well just open up your doors and say, come on in. Hang my male relatives and rape my female relatives. And furthermore, hang my male friends and rape my female friends and hang any male neighbors of mine who could be the likes among ourselves of my friends, and rape any female neighbors of mine likewise who could be in that same line of thought in a sense of word, as well as hang my male relatives and rape my male females, and hang my male relatives as well as rape my female relatives is what I meant to say. Prince of Peace, continue to regulate my mind compared to our Prince of Darkness, attempts to confuse my speech. So, you know what you got to do. President-elect Joe Biden must have a peaceful transition to enter the White House, regardless of Secret Service agents are going to be beefed up, but it is up to us to supplement that security around him, as well as secure any area and all government buildings being of which are threatened by that of racist redneck radicals or crazies, crackpots or cranks, as well as secure or protect any other American representative politicians of ours, as well as protect the president-elect from the likes of these racist, redneck, retarded, crazy radicals. It is up to all of us. We are all in this together. Just like we're all in this together for the global pandemic, we are all in this together to protect the Democratic Republic of the United States of America. Any, every, and all law-abiding American citizens and or foreigners of whatsoever races and of whatever walks of life, factions of society, and or lifestyle preferences. That's including any of you different street gang members who don't want to see the likes of racist, redneck, closet-klansmen, and closet neo-Nazis to attempt to dictate how they think we should live our lives by either becoming their slaves or becoming their prisoners of war. We're not having it. No can do. No thank you. We're not having it. We don't want it and we don't need it. How much less? We don't need that kind of madness, that nonsense. Are you all with me on this? Whatever it takes. When it comes to these racist, redneck, crackpots or cranks, racist, redneck, Klan, and neo-Nazi radicals, if a civil war must happen, then so be it, so let it be done. But we will not give in to any terrorists, foreign or domestic. You hear what I'm saying? Remember that one Patrick Swayze movie about some Russians attempting to invade the mainland of the United States of America with their military troops? We must be on the defensive, like so. You hear? If any law-abiding American citizen is not ready to take up arms or to take up some kind of lethal weapon within your hands to defend our American way of life, to protect our American republic, then you are a coward. We don't need you. You may as well just lay down and die and let the racist, redneck radicals just walk all over you, beat you into a coma, and beat you to death. Being it because if they threaten American politicians and threaten our American police and our American military, then likewise they are threatening all of us as American citizens. Those American politicians are supposed to represent any, every, and all American citizens, regardless of race or walk of life. Those American police and American military personnel, those American police officials and American military personnel officials are supposed to protect any, every, and all American citizens and all foreigners within our country. Be any foreigners petitioning for American citizenship or not. If you want the likes of racist, redneck hooligans or hoodlums to just walk through your place of residence doors and set up camp, then that's you. I'm sure that there are more than quite a few law-abiding American citizens, like I myself, of whatsoever race and whatever walks of life, have considered this to be a serious threat against our American way of life, as well as to our American form of government. These racist, redneck, radical crazies want to overthrow our democratic form of government and want to force us to accept a dictatorship of the likes to be compared onto Nazi Germany. And we're not having it. Are we or are we not? I don't know about you all, but I'm not having it. And any others like me that are fortified in our positions to resist any threats against the United States of America coming from any terrorists, foreign or domestic. Remember what I said. President Joe Biden is to be inaugurated come January 20th. And these racist redneck crazies have threatened to disrupt or interrupt the political process. And we can't have that. We must have a zero tolerance level for it. Thank you all for your attention. And I hope you think seriously about what I have said. Because the life you save may be your own if you don't come to the assistance to help your fellow law-abiding American citizens and the American police and American military in some of such a time of need, if it is necessary to assist one and all to protect our American way of life and to keep these racist redneck radicals from attempting to overthrow our American government and then to attempt to replace it with or to put in its place something other of the likes of the nature of a dictatorship. Remember what I said. I'm counting on you all, my fellow American citizens, of law-abiding American citizens and our foreigners who wish to maintain a democratic republic upon the continent of North America, being as it is for the United States of America, is what I meant to say. Prince of Peace, regulate my mind compared to how the Prince of Darkness attempts to confuse my speech. Because these racist redneck Joe Palookas, they don't know half as much as they think they know. They're actually working against themselves for what is in their better interest, as well as they're attempting to come against others to attempt to make others' lives a living damn hell. In the process of them attempting to overthrow the government, they're actually working against themselves as well as they attempt to make others' lives a living damn hell. They're just too stupid not to know it. So therefore, we must refresh their memories that we cannot permit this to happen. Any law-abiding American citizens or foreigners who wish to continue this democratic form of government in our American way of life. Peace.